Welcome to the latest episode of Bites, Sites, and Life Insurance Insights. I'm your host, Bill Bell, Vice President of Advanced Sales with Penn Mutual, and I'm so pleased that you chose to join us here today. Now, as you can see, we are on the road again. In fact, we are in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is a place where the sun just refuses to shine for 5 months out of the year. We are at Skyline Chili. For those of you that are longtime listeners to Life Matters, a Penn Mutual podcast, you'll know this is one of my favorite places. We wanted to share the experience. We wanted to share the visual with you. We've got a special guest inside who's going to join me for some chili here. Somebody that's near and dear to my heart, prominent financial professional here in Cincinnati. So come on, let's go get some chili. Hey, Jason.
Bill, how are you?
I'm so happy to be here.
Hey, welcome to Skyline.
Are you ready for some chili?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. So Jason, tell the audience who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Jason Odell, Cincinnati, Ohio. A financial advisor, mainly specializing in physicians and working with physician practices throughout the country. Started when I was in college interning for a financial advisor who mainly works with physicians. And from that point forward, I was able to get licensed when I was in college interning for him. And when I got out, I immediately started my own firm up and began doing planning work for physicians, helping them with their insurance needs, their financial planning needs, as well as their investment needs.
Your firm is one of the few out there that has really been able to successfully kind of bridge the being a registered investment advisor while at the same time selling life insurance to your clients. Why do you think that you've been so successful with that where other firms have really struggled?
I think what's made us successful in that area is when I early on started out, I knew I could only be an expert in a very limited amount of things, but I knew that my clients needed a lot of different types of financial service or financial planning advice. And that could include tax planning and insurance planning, investment planning, asset protection for physicians, so a legal component to it as well. And I figured the best way to do that was to go out and join forces and partner up with people who had those skill sets or those expertise. And then they could focus on that while I could focus on my area of expertise, which is in the insurance world and the financial planning world. So I went out and found people that could manage investments, and that's what they did day in and day out. So I think that made our firm successful because we have people that aren't trying to be everything to the client. They're really trying to focus in on what they do well, and everybody works together on the same team, collaborating together to then build a comprehensive plan for our clients.
Well, having been to the OJM offices on a number of occasions, I will say that the camaraderie and the ability to work together is unrivaled as far as those types of firms in the country. How long did it take you to put together the team that you currently have, and what do you look for as far as the people that you work with to make sure that they're able to bring those specific skill sets?
Yeah, so it's taken 15 years or so to really get the team to the point where it is now. And really what we did is we started out with my partner David Mandel and I co-founding OJM Group, and his background is as an attorney. He's an asset protection expert. And from there, we moved and added the component of a CPA, also adding in other insurance people. Some of the team came to us, really, few of them straight out of college, one of which on the investment side, actually one of our very first interns ever at our firm, and has stayed with us now for 16 years as become a partner. And his specialty is on the investment team. And so he really was groomed in his college career and then afterwards working on our investment team. So I really focus in on 3 core areas financial planning, and then we have an insurance solutions division where we're handling all of the insurance needs of our clients from A to Z. And then the third real component is our wealth management division, where we have an RIA, registered investment advisory firm. And that is an area we have a whole team that's all they do and are dedicated to do that. And we're managing assets for our clients as a fiduciary, as a percentage of assets under management.
So one of the things that's really kind of unique about your firm is that you've been able to provide both RIA services to your clients while at the same time being a leader in life insurance sales. How have you been able to bridge that gap where so many other firms out there have really kind of struggled to be in both spaces. Maybe they're good at RIA and they're poor at life insurance, or vice versa. Your firm does both really well. How are you able to do that?
What we were able to do is build a team around all the different areas in the financial services space. So whether it was asset protection, getting an attorney whose background or that specializes in that, or it's a CPA that's doing tax planning work for our clients, and investment professionals, financial planning professionals, and insurance professionals all on the team, but all having a focus in their particular area or discipline and not trying to stray over into the other areas.
All right, well, I know I'm getting hungry. What do you say we order up some chili?
Let's do it.
Do you have an order that you usually go with here at Skyline?
I do. My staple usually is a small 3-way, juicy, light on the cheese, 2 cheese coneys, no onion.
All right, so we're going to dive into that here. What's the difference between a 3-way, a 4-way, and a 5-way? Because those are kind of the 3 classic orders here.
Right? Yeah. So, basic 3-way just has chili, noodles, and cheese. If you move up to a 4-way, you're adding in beans or onions. And if you add in beans and onions, you get up to a 5-way.
So 5 ingredients is a
5-way.
All right, very good. So not very fancy, but delicious nonetheless.
Spectacular.
All right, well, let's order up some chili, and we'll be back to talk some more about some life insurance.
Excellent. Let's do it.
Jason, you're the special guest, so why don't you order first?
I love a small 3-way juicy, light cheese, 2 cheese coneys, no onion.
And I'm going to do a small, I guess it'd be 5-way, but no cheese. So technically, I guess that'd be 4-way, because there's only 4.
Bean and onion.
Oh, small 2-way bean and onion. So you didn't even tell me that existed.
I didn't.
And then a couple of the coneys with no cheese on them. Thank you so much. All right, before we dig in, I'm going to ask you another business-related question. So you mentioned earlier in your intro that you work with a lot of physicians all throughout the country. How did you get into that market, and how have you had success working with physicians?
Yeah, get in the market because when I interned, the planner I interned for worked with physicians, so I sort of tripped into it. Really, the success has become starting working with them when they were younger in their residency fellowship training. As they finished all of that, went into practice, became partners in practices, some of which have now sold their businesses as well. We've sort of progressed over the last 30 years with them. So it was really starting out when they were young and just following through my entire career.
So a lot of financial professionals find doctors to be challenging clients. How have you had success where others have failed?
Yeah, I think the key to our success in that has been we find our clients, prospects, through all of our marketing and educational materials or speaking engagements that we're doing. So they're actually calling us to ask for help as opposed to us reaching out and asking them if we can help them. So by them asking us for help, it sort of breaks down all of the barriers. They want the help, they need the help, and they've come into our firm and asked us for help. So certainly physicians can be difficult to get on schedules, but if it's a priority in their world to do something, they'll make time for it.
So that's a big differentiator. I think a lot of people, they'll look up medical providers, doctors, dentists, whatever in their community, and they'll reach out to them and say, hey, what are your planning needs? Can I help you? Whereas you're basically working the opposite, where they're coming to you and saying, hey, I have this need. How can you solve it? And you work with them based on what it is that they need.
Absolutely. That's exactly it.
I'm really starting to get hungry now. So why don't we dig in a little bit here? Let's do it. You mentioned earlier that you have a lot of young doctors that you work with. In my experience, a lot of doctors that are in their 30s or so, their primary focus is, how do I pay back my student loans? I've got hundreds of thousands of student loans. How do you kind of put together a plan for a doctor, make sure that they have the liquidity to pay those loans while at the same time starting to save for retirement for them?
Yeah, great question. It's a lot of it's a balancing act in terms of trying to do a little bit of everything, trying to put money into retirement. If you're newly out and in practice, maybe you're an employee, so there's some sort of match in the 401k plan you're getting if you put a certain amount in. So encouraging them to do that, and then figuring out what you're going to do with this huge amount of debt and how you're going to pay it off. It's not going to get paid off in a matter of a couple years. Normally, if you're coming out, you've got several $100,000 in student loan debt. Back when interest rates were lower, there was a lot of consolidation that was able to be done at a very low interest rate and amortize those payments out over 30 years. So thus giving them the ability to really have a stream of payments going out at a very low interest rate. Today's environment's a little bit different, so it's a little more tricky. But again, pendulum will swing back at some point in time. But the key is really just trying to do a little bit of both. Paying off debt, putting money aside in retirement, saving in some sort of, putting money in insurance, getting your disability in place, doing all the different kinds of things you need to do.
So Jason, obviously I work for a life insurance company. We are obviously interested in regarding how you incorporate life insurance for your clients. How do you generally fit it within their financial plan? And is there a specific type of life insurance that you generally gravitate towards?
So we'd use life insurance as at a core for just protecting against an unexpected event. So using term insurance for specific needs that could arise, whether it's repayment of a mortgage or survivor benefits, or because an individual has a loan of some type. And then from there, as the positions, gradually get older, as their incomes go up, we'll incorporate some sort of permanent life insurance. And it'll depend upon the client's risk profile and objectives, how we'll incorporate that as an overall asset class in their total portfolio. So part of our investment management is also incorporating some sort of life insurance in there. And then the third and final way is at some point in time, as there's an estate planning need and there's a reason for having life insurance for helping with the paying estate taxes, we'll incorporate some types of second to die policies or additional policies on the advanced planning side.
Are there any types of concepts that you'll use with your clients? I mean, you work with so many business owners and then doctors. Do you see a lot of cash balance plans? Do you see a lot of estate planning? Does it just really depend on the clients and their needs?
That depends on the client, but a lot of what we would do is life insurance in a retirement plan or as a retirement planning tool. So using life insurance to help supplement some sort of a retirement, also known as a LIRP strategy. We'll use that concept frequently with our clients if it's the right profile of the client with excess cash where they're already maximizing all the other things and doing all the other areas of planning.
All right, Jason, you devoured your three-way. You did a pretty good job on your coneys. I got my coneys done. Still kind of working on the three-way here, but I wanted to ask you kind of an off-the-wall question. So the chili here at Skyline is kind of unique. Life insurance planning can be very unique for specific clients. Can you make a comparison on why life insurance planning is like Skyline Chili?
Yeah, that's actually great. You would think that they're not similar, but I think there are some similarities between the two. With Skyline Chili, you've got a unique recipe that's been passed down from generation to generation that brings together care and a unique ingredients really to bring people to the table and share a meal with an excellent recipe. Same thing on the life insurance side. Life insurance is designed with care to help individuals in the event of an unexpected need or death in the family. And therefore, the two have a lot of similarities together, both in providing care and comfort to people.
Care and comfort. I love that. I definitely feel comforted after eating my Skyline here. So I could definitely see that. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Penn Mutual. What do you love about working with Penn Mutual?
Well, I think it starts at the top with Dave O'Malley and his accessibility and honesty with everybody, not only his team, but also with us advisors out in the field and in answering our questions pointedly and honestly about, especially over the last several years as things have been a little bit rough in terms of just the economy, and now as things have gotten better, his vision. So I think it starts with there, but then it really filters all the way down through everybody. All of our interactions with Penn Mutual, whether it's on the advanced planning team or whether it's in underwriting, have been nothing but excellent. People care about their jobs. They care about helping our clients and helping us. And so we feel like we're on the same team and have a great partnership. And probably the single most important is Tom Meyer and our relationship in our office with Tom Meyer, who really supports us in everything that we do. He's been instrumental, not only in my career, but in our entire growth of our organization. And really, there's no one better at his job than in the country than him. And so we're lucky to have him as part of our team. And not only that, but also a good friend of our organization.
So you're pretty tied in with the industry. In fact, you were on the board at Fonseca for a while. Obviously, by the time this comes out, we'll probably be in the midst of another tax fight in Washington here. What are you hearing, and why is it so important to be really involved with industry from a legislative and regulatory perspective?
Yeah, it's extraordinarily important to stay active and involved in Washington and in the legislative side of our business, because it's what we all do for a living. We should care about it. We should care what happens, especially what's going to happen to our clients, which is the number one reason as to why we all get up and go to work every day, is to help our clients. So we need to stay active and involved in that. And Fonseca is the greatest advocacy group in our industry to do that for us and on our behalf. I think as this will come out, we will see what happens as it relates to the tax package, because both the White House and the Senate and Congress are going to be controlled by the Republicans. I think you're going to see definitely the 17 tax package probably have some of the same components of it pass through, and maybe some additional tax cuts or savings as the Republicans have tried to advocate and campaign upon. I also think that we'll probably see something potentially related with the estate tax, whether it's going to be set where it is now or whether it gets lowered and tried to made permanent at a dollar amount and inflated out. We'll see where that comes. But obviously it's going to be a fight, because the margins are thin. You got to keep all the Republicans on one side, and that's not going to be easy.
All right, Jason, we have our decadent desserts here.
Yes.
So let's get to some desserty topics as we wrap up our interview here today. You and I both like going to concerts, and you've told me about some great ones you've been to over the years. What's one that stands out for you? Like, you were going to say, what was your all-time favorite concert? What would it be?
Wow, you're right. We do like concerts and do like going to them. I've seen some great ones over the year. Probably the best concert I've actually been to, I'm going to have to say there's two. One is Pearl Jam at Wrigley with my wife, which was awesome. Two was seeing U2 in the Sphere last year in December, which is an unbelievable event and experience in and of itself. And so I'd say those are 1 and 1A.
The Sphere is an amazing place. I haven't seen a show there yet. I went to the movie that they have there a couple of different times, which was unbelievable. I'm waiting for Tool to play the Sphere. That's when I'm going to make my Sphere concert debut there. You're also a sports fan. I know you're a Denver Broncos fan first and foremost, but we're in Cincinnati. Is this a Bengals town or a Reds town first and foremost?
It's, that's a great question. It's going to be a Reds town first and foremost. Reds have been here since day one, the original. So it's definitely a Reds town through and through, but it is a diehard Bengals town. And I certainly love the Cincinnati Bengals as well. Born in Denver, so I have an affinity towards the Broncos, but I have been transformed by all three of my children to be and cheer for loudly the Cincinnati Bengals.
So Jason, we had a great meal. We had a great discussion about lots of different topics. What would you say your highlight is of our interview here today?
Well, just being able to spend time with you, Bill. That was
I agree. Spending time with you is always great. So thank you for being our guest on this episode of Bite Sites and Life Insurance Insights.
Thanks, Bill. I really appreciate it. It was great sharing a meal with you, spending time, answering some questions. I look forward to hopefully doing it again some point in the future in another Cincinnati staple restaurant.
All right, it's a deal. So 3 quick takeaways before we go. First, even though the market can provide some challenges, working with doctors can be quite advantageous if you approach it correctly. Second, life insurance is an important part of any well-rounded retirement income portfolio, not just for the cash value distributions, but also for the protection it provides. And third, it is all of our duties as financial professionals to be part of our industry efforts to make sure that our voices are heard in Washington. So thank you to Skyline Chili for the bites. Thank you to the city of Cincinnati for the sites. And thank you so much to Jason Odell for the insights. Until next time, I'm Bill Bell. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for watching. If you got value from this video, make sure you check out our previous videos. We know you will love them.